Here are the remnants of what was known as the New Gaol in Bristol, just beside the River Avon, not far from a place in Bristol called Bedminster. The stone gate entrance that you can see here was where the last ever public hanging in Bristol took place. An 18-year-old girl called Sarah Harriet Thomas was found guilty of beating an elderly woman to death with a stone while she was sleeping. The woman was the employer of Sarah, and when she was faced in court, she told them how hard the woman had worked Sarah, and she had had enough of it. Sarah also killed the woman's dog and put it in a toilet. Reports say a huge crowd was gathered outside the gatehouse to watch the hanging of the 18-year-old, and she was dragged screaming as she was taken to the gallows. Apparently the hanging caused the prison governor to faint. Her last meal was mutton chop. The crowds would be so large at these hangings that they would risk falling into the river, as there were no fences at the time. The first public hanging that took place here was of John Horwood on Friday the 13th of April 1821. He was convicted of murdering a young woman by throwing a stone at her, which caused her skull to fracture as she crossed a stream. John was hung 3 days before his 18th birthday, and records say a group of his family and friends heard John's body was going to be used for scientific research after his death, so they planned to ambush the cart that carried his body away. But the jail authorities moved the body through the night to avoid this. His body was taken to the Bristol Royal Infirmary, where his body was dissected by a surgeon, Richard Smith. A book was then made from John Horwood's skin, which contains notes of his murder, trial and execution, which now sits in the Bristol Record Office, a short walk from the spot where he was killed. The prison itself was built in 1820 and held 197 prisoners. It was a mixed-sex prison with single cells that measured 6 foot by 9 foot. Conditions at the prison were described as being squalid, with no ventilation due to the small windows, and drinking water eventually becoming stagnant. This prison was built to replace the Newgate prison, which was built alongside Bristol Castle, one of the oldest prisons in England, built in 1148. In 1831, riots broke out through Bristol after the House of Lords rejected a reforming of Parliament, and the prison was attacked by a group of rioters. A small boy crawled through the gate and released a bolt, allowing approximately 170 prisoners to break free. A treadmill which was used to carry water from a well, and the gallows that were used to hang people were thrown into the Avon River. Although 10,000 Bristolians petitioned against it, 4 of the rioters were executed and another was declared an idiot and was jailed. The prison was rebuilt but wasn't completed until 1872, and because of such bad conditions it was closed in 1883 and partly demolished in 1898 by decision of the Bristol Corporation, who we now know as the Bristol City Council. Horwood Prison was built in 1884 to replace it. At the time of filming, modern flats are being built to replace the new jail, although the gate entrance and some of the walls still remain as they are listed. Interestingly, Churngold, who are a massive construction and civil engineering company, are being used to build the development. The current master of the Merchant Venturers, a group of people responsible for much of Bristol's wealth and growth since the late 1500s, is the chairman and majority shareholder of Churngold. I'll be talking more about the Merchant Venturers in future videos.